Hello, everyone. It's Steve with Aptera Owners Club. So, yesterday was the June 2024 investor webinar, and you can watch it on this channel. And there is a no commentary, unedited full webinar on the channel, and you can watch it yourself there. This is a publicly available webinar. You can go to invest at .aptera.us. It sends you to this webpage. And if you scroll down, there's the investor webinar from June 2024. You can just watch it here as well. I just scrubbed it and put it on on my page since it's publicly available. Anyone can get to it. It's not behind any kind of password protected security wall or anything. Anyway, this webinar was jam-packed with information, so we're going to be unpacking this over the next week and kind of talking about it. There's a lot to get into, but today I wanted to kind of talk about one of the kind of Easter eggs they had in this webinar towards the very end. They had this screenshot at the very end. They had a thank you screen, and it was kind of washed out. And one of the people in the Discord channel kind of played with the contrast and stuff and made it so that it was a little easier to see what the video was. But these are a lot of concept drawings of possible future Aptera vehicles. Very interesting. I assume that Jason Hill had a hand in designing most of these vehicles. I'm not 100% sure. And I'm guessing that these are vehicles that they are at least considering making, or at least it's like one of their candidates because they chose to put it in here. And I thought it was quite interesting, and we should talk about it because these are possibly the future Aptera vehicles. Now, of course, Aptera needs to survive its first vehicle, the Roadster, the one that we all know about, the three-wheel, super efficient Aptera that we all have on order or are very interested in. It needs to produce that vehicle. It needs to sell that vehicle. It needs to show that it's a reliable vehicle and deliver on its promises. And at that point, they can use that to scale up and perhaps make these vehicles. It's kind of like how Tesla made the Roadster, and that was the very first vehicle. And then Tesla made the Model S, and then they made the Model 3, and then, the rest is history. The Aptera, the three-wheeled Aptera is Aptera's Roadster. So they need to produce that, show that there's a demand, make enough of those to become financially stable, and then they can move on to these things. But these are kind of cool, and kind of talks to Aptera's ambitions of getting beyond a niche three-wheel vehicle. So let's start in the top left-hand corner. So I think these are probably the most conventional and most viable looking vehicles. And what I see is looks like a saloon here. This looks very, very similar to the Lightyear vehicle. You can see it has a very long tail. This is going to be very, very aerodynamic. A lot of space for the solar panels to fit in here. It looks like it is probably going to be a four-door vehicle and four-door, five-passenger vehicle. What I don't understand is why they're not covering up the rear wheel. If the spinning wheels cause a lot of air resistance, and so if you want to protect that, you could cover the rear wheel, and you could make the cover removable. Maybe people don't like the look of that because it's a kind of an unconventional look, but does help with the aerodynamics. Now, of course, covering the front wheel is a bigger issue because the front wheels need to articulate to make right and left turns, and therefore having a cover on that is going to be problematic. Now, remember, the Aero Civic got around that, which I think with a pretty ingenious idea of having a cover that's spring-loaded so that at high speeds it kind of comes in, because at high speeds you don't need to turn the wheel that much to move. But in like parking situations or low speed maneuvers, the front wheels do need to articulate quite a bit to move. And so with this spring loaded cover, you can still turn in low speed maneuvers, but at high speed maneuvers, the covers would go over. And I thought that was a pretty ingenious idea, but aesthetically maybe not the best. Okay, so there's this, which I think looks very aerodynamic and looks very similar to the Lightyear vehicle. This looks like what would be a compact SUV. It looks taller, but kind of similar design language. And this looks like a sportier hatchback, maybe. It uses kind of a camback design. Camback is it's named after a German aerodynamicist, and he realized that you can chop off the tail a decent amount and still achieve the majority of the aerodynamic benefits. So a lot of cars use cambacks, like a Prius, like the original Prius used a camback. So lots of current cars use camback designs. But this is a very conventional looking car. I think if you saw this, it would not feel out of place in any road in America right now. And this looks a little futuristic, but pretty unconventional as well. This one definitely would stick out because it has this very long tail, and this one would be, I think, probably the most aerodynamic of the three here. Now, after you get beyond this panel, you start seeing a lot more conceptual looking, unusual looking vehicles, like this one on the top right. This looks like it would be a large SUV, I'm guessing. It's very low slung, very long, really, really long. Look at the wheelbase on this thing. That is an insane wheelbase. I think turning radius on this thing would be very problematic unless you had like rear wheeled articulation as well or something. But I'm guessing the turning radius on this would not be great. But looks like you would have ridiculous amounts of room. This is gonna be like a 3-row SUV with a lot of trunk space. Ridiculous amount of roof area for solar, and again, this camback design. They didn't want the tail to be way out here another couple of feet. This, I swear I have seen this design before. If you guys know where you've seen this design before, let me know in the comments below. Like, this seems like a vehicle that I've seen before in another company. Now, it's very similar to this Zoox design right here. So Zoox is a company that is a subsidiary of Amazon. They are trying to make autonomous vehicles for transporting both goods and people. An interesting side note about Zoox is that CPC Group is designing the body of Zoox as well. So this is another CPC vehicle, like Aptera. And so I think this looks very similar to the Zoox vehicle, but not exactly. And I feel like I've seen this vehicle, this exact vehicle someplace. I'm not sure, but obviously this is a concept for a delivery vehicle, an autonomous delivery vehicle. Here's large packages here, small packages here. It would have a large roof area for solar. And since generally these delivery vehicles do not need to travel very far or very fast, you could theoretically see a situation where this thing could function mostly from the solar gain, especially in very sunny areas, from the solar gain of the roof, because I think most deliveries routes are like what, 20 miles maybe or less. Like U.S. Postal Service vehicles, I'm sure don't drive more than 20, 30 miles at most per day during their circuit. So yeah, wow, this Zoox website takes a long time to load, but this is a company. They are fairly close to production. They have vehicles. They've been crash testing them. Their crash test data shows that the CPC CFSMC is quite strong and very crash worthy. So that's good for Aptera. And then lastly, you see at the bottom here, these look like compact trucks. Now, trucks and aerodynamics do not really go together. You can see they're lifted, they have high ground clearance, the tires are completely exposed to the air. This thing's not going to be, like, the body looks aerodynamic, but this thing is not going to be aerodynamic. Remember, Tello trucks also had their front wheel completely exposed to the front wind, and that they are now, I've heard, redesigning it to have some kind of protection to give increased aerodynamics. But this thing is not going to be aerodynamic at all. But I kind of like the look of it. If you really needed a truck and you like the Aptera brand or the concept, you could see it. They put the solar cover as a kind of a tunnel cover um, over the truck, but a cool looking truck. I like the look of it. I just don't see the practicality of it. If you want an aerodynamic car, this is not going to be it. And I think with this kind of vehicle, you're not going to get that much solar gain out of the solar panels because this is just not going to be that efficient. I think these vehicles could be efficient, especially this one in the middle. This one looks like it just has so much solar roof and it's very aerodynamic. You could make this work, and then you could make this work because these vehicles just aren't going to go very fast or very far on a daily basis. This one's probably the least Aptera practical vehicle. But, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Which of these cars do you find most attractive? Which of these cars do you think Aptera should make next? I think they should make this car next. This is basically the Lightyear vehicle. They've shown that this is a functional vehicle. You get significant solar range from this. It's very aerodynamic. It stays with the ethos of Aptera, so I think this is the one they should make next. And I think if they're going to go something after that, I would go for this. This is really weird, and I think it leans into Aptera's solar and efficiency and aerodynamics. And then maybe the next thing is this. I think, why would Aptera produce a vehicle like this? I think there's companies like Zoox already making this vehicle. I don't think there's any reason to reinvent the wheel. What Aptera should do is probably just license their solar panel tech to a company like Zoox or Canoe or whatever, and you could make these vehicles. Like this is not. I think you got to stay with your core strength, and this would not be Aptera's core strength. And I guess if Aptera became a big enough brand, you could kind of branch out to these kinds of vehicles. But I think they should go this license to this, maybe do this other stuff later. All right. Well, thanks for watching, guys. Tell me what you guys think about these future four-wheeled Aptera vehicles. And thanks for watching. We will go over the details of the webinar over the next week or so. So stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.